fans, welcome to the launch of the Redmi Note 7 Pro. Now, it's a great privilege for me to be here to introduce to you something which I think fundamentally will change the industry forever. It's a landmark product. And not just that, with the Redmi Note 7 Pro, we are bringing in a massive 48 megapixel camera beast. It's not just that. The Redmi Note 7 Pro redefines design, takes performance to the very next level, and of course, you've got an amazing flagship camera. Frankly, it's amazing what a phone at a truly honest price can do. Let's get into the first part straight away, design. And with the Redmi Note 7 Pro, we have gone grounds up and completely changed our design philosophy. And to look at that design philosophy, I'll play a video. Just take a look.
This is where it all began. The first Redmi Note ever created. The beginning of a path-breaking legacy in the world of smartphones. A legacy that has exceeded expectations with every successor and refined and reinvented itself time and again. When we started designing the Redmi Note 7 series, we wanted to take this legacy to the next level. The device has been crafted with the aim of a premium design and aesthetic. We wanted to provide an experience so immersive that it truly wows the user, all along ensuring no compromise on the functional features that our fans have always adored. And that is what led us to the Aura design philosophy. The impact of Aura design is clear at first glance. The symmetric, seamless design draws your attention immediately. In your hand, the new Note feels premium and ergonomically designed, truly a class apart. And that's not all. We've carefully crafted the bezel, the notch, and the overall user experience to ensure that the new Note immerses you deeply into every experience that you desire. What really makes the new Redmi Note an excellent device is its functional design. We've ensured that no small accidents, spills, or drops will ever degrade the quality and performance of your premium device. And of course, we've retained all the practical features that you've always loved. So get ready for the best Redmi Note yet with the all-new Aura design. Xiaomi.
So with the Redmi Note 7 Pro, we are bringing in an all-new Aura design. As you saw, the Aura design philosophy is a factor of three things. We are giving an incredibly immersive experience. There's a lot of attention to detail, and we are doing all of this, making a beautiful device without compromising on the functionality. Something that our Mi fans have always loved. Moving into the immersive experience. For the first time ever on a Redmi Note, we are using a 19.5:9 dot notch display. Now this is a full HD display that takes brightness and contrast levels to a whole new level. But what I want you to look at is that we also have used the most expensive LCD technology available today, the LTPS in-cell screen. Now this is incredibly important because the LTPS in-cell screen uses less power and also generates less heat. And with that, we are able to push this all the way to the edges to give you a bezel that's narrower than ever before, at just 1.95 mm. It's a true engineering marvel. And with this new aspect ratio and smaller bezels, what we've been able to do is with the Redmi Note 7 Pro, in almost the same footprint as the Redmi Note 5 Pro and the Note 6 Pro, we're giving a larger display. Now it's a 6.3-inch display. Not just that, with the Note 7 Pro, we have retained and in some cases reintroduced some of our fan favorites. We have the sunlight display. When you go out, the Redmi Note 7 Pro's screen enhances brightness, improves the overall contrast, and even to give you a more natural image, adjust the color saturation. So when you are outside in bright sunlight, it's still a comfortable viewing experience. And talking about a comfortable viewing experience, if it's low light, we also have a reading mode. And this has been certified by TUV, where it cuts off the blue light, improves the overall readability, reduces eye strain, so that when you get that last game or the last skill before that night, you still aren't really stressing your eyes. And along with the display, along with the entire immersive nature, is the craftsmanship. On the Redmi Note 7 Pro, for the first time, we have a 2.5D curved glass, and not just in the front, but the back as well. And this is incredibly important, because this curvature that you get, both in the front and the back, seamlessly blends in with the frame, giving you this perfect unibody experience. The hand feel on the Note 7 Pro is absolutely amazing. It's something that you do not expect from a device like this. What's also interesting is, and some of the Mi fans I'm sure will notice this later, is the flash actually is underneath the glass. It's that seamless overall design. Amazing attention to detail. And talking about more attention to detail, we also are introducing for the first time a gradient finish. Now this is 6 layers coming together to give you this incredible finish. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it comes in multiple colors. Let's take a look at the first one. Now that's the Neptune Blue. Now it looks absolutely amazing with the entire gradient finish coming in. Another angle for the Neptune Blue, and you can absorb this more. It is a really good device. One more angle for Note 7 Pro's Neptune Blue color. Now not just that, we've taken the gradient finish to another level, and we also have the Nebula Red. Looks absolutely stunning, almost from all angles that you look at it. And again, you can see the frame is matching with the entire gradient finish. It is an outstanding looking device. Another angle. Now these are the 2 gradient finishes that we've got. What happens if you have someone in your team, someone who's a little more conservative, someone like probably Manu? For him, these colors are a bit too much. He said it's for the younger people. I do like the blue. For those people, actually not. It's actually a really good color. We are also getting the classic space black. And this is a black that you've never seen before. It's absolutely stunning. It looks classy, as well as it gives you this entire vibrance that you expect from the Note 7 Pro. Another angle for the space black, and here are all 3 colors in the same frame. Absolutely stunning, and I must commend our engineering team for doing an excellent job. Now these are renders, but what happens is, if when you see this device in person, when you hold it, how does that look? So we've taken a couple of shots of the phone. Now the next few images are not renders, these are actually photographs of the real device, just to show you how good this actually looks. The Neptune Blue, by the way, the color name is also really awesome, as good as the Note 7 Pro. The Nebula Red. Now these devices look absolutely stunning in real life. And of course, after this, we should get an idea, and we should get a chance to feel these. And of course, the classic black. Now, not just a good looking device, the Note 7 Pro also takes this entire build to the very next level. Both at the front and the back, we are introducing Corning's Gorilla Glass 5. And talking about being a very practical device, we are also introducing a Type-C port for the first time on the Note series. And of course, jack is back. We never got rid of it. Now there's one more feature which the Mi fans love and none of the other brands have ever provided. Absolutely, only the Mi fans know this. So with the IR blaster, and almost all our Redmi Note devices have had this, you can turn your Redmi Note 7 Pro into a universal remote. You can control thousands of devices, TVs, set-top boxes, game consoles, fans, pretty much everything that uses IR technology. It's something that our fans have absolutely loved, and we are not giving up on that. So, to sum it up, from a design perspective, I'm sure you guys are loving what you saw. The Aura design, an all-new philosophy. You've got an immersive 6.3-inch dot-notch display with an all-new aspect ratio of 19.5:9. You have a LTPS in-cell screen. Again, improved thermals, improved battery efficiency. You're pushing it all the way to the edges, smaller bezels. You've got a Corning Gorilla Glass 5, both at the front and the back. It's a 2.5D glass that merges in with the frame. And of course, that beautiful 6-layer gradient finish. And it's still a Redmi Note. It is as practical as ever before. It's got the headphone jack, it's still got the IR remote control, and the all-new Type-C. Now moving to the next section, and this is something that the Redmi Note series has always been known for. We've broken that entire segment time and again in terms of how the Redmi Note has performed. And of course, talking about that, let's get into the performance part. And this, of course, is, we know, incredibly important to all our Mi fans, right? No? Okay, so before I get into the performance part of it, I'll recap. So we talked about this last time as well. When we are selecting a processor, we look at 3 key things. Can it run all the apps and games smoothly? Does it have great thermals? And of course, it's a Note, it has to give great battery life. So for kind of ticking all these boxes, I would like to introduce to you, on the Redmi Note 7 Pro, we are going to use the Qualcomm Snapdragon 625. Okay. So we really wanted to, obviously 625 has been Manu's favorite processor for 2 years. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks back, we had a little incident. In Andhra Pradesh, one truck, which was surprisingly carrying all our 625 chips, got stolen. So because we lost all our 625s, with the Redmi Note 7, we are bringing in an all-new processor. This processor is absolutely amazing. On Antutu, this clocks in at a whopping 1.8 lakhs. Trust me, nobody has seen a performance like this in the segment before. In fact, when we compared the Redmi Note 7 Pro with the previous generation Redmi Note 6 Pro, we have 155% the performance of the predecessor. It's a massive jump. Not just from a benchmark score perspective. We tested it time and again internally. Almost everything that you run runs a lot faster. You see faster web browsing, game launches, social media launches, almost everything is much, much faster on the Note 7 Pro. So these were benchmarks and these were comparisons. So we decided to go a step further. And we said, let's compare it with some really powerful devices out there. and where does it stand? So we decided to compare it with the Qualcomm 710. And versus the 710, the Redmi Note 7 Pro is almost 17% faster. There's another 710, which is not actually the real one. That obviously is much slower, but we'll get to that a little later. So, what we did was, this was Antutu. How about some other tests, like single core tests and multi-core tests? So we also went to Geekbench and looked at that. So both single core, multi-core, of course you've seen Antutu, it turned out to be the fastest device that was there. And of course we've seen the Oppo R17 Pro that does run Snapdragon 710 retails for about 46,000 rupees. And the Note 7 Pro beats it by a healthy margin. Why is that? Because the Redmi Note 7 Pro's processor uses the latest Cryo 460 architecture. Now this uses the same ARM A76 cores as the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855. It is a truly powerful chip. And this chip that we're using on the Redmi Note 7 Pro is none other than an absolute phenomenal chip running on the Cryo 460 architecture. It's an 11 nanometer FinFET process. So it's not just more powerful, but it's also a lot more efficient. And yes, it is an octa-core chip. We got to dive a little deeper. Okay. Now, as you saw, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 675 is an 11 nanometer, based on 11 nanometer FinFET technology. It uses the latest Cryo 460 architecture, and it is an 8-core processor. With the 11 nanometer chipset or the process technology, you get better thermal, you get better power consumption, and because of all of this, you're able to push the entire performance to a whole new level on the 675. Not just that, we dive a little deeper to find out why it's so powerful. Let's look at how the CPU works. And in the Cryo 460 CPU, you've got 2 gold cores running ARM's A76. Now these are super performance cores. And then along with that, you've got 6 silver cores which run on ARM's A55 architecture. Now both of these are powerful, but the gold cores do the major heavy lifting. So all your games, your heavy 3D applications are in the gold cores, while the silver ones are for your day-to-day performance. So whether it's social media apps, whether you're listening to music, whether you're browsing, these silver cores step in there. But not just that. Obviously, we are also interested in gaming. And there we've got an all-new Adreno 612 GPU. And this GPU, when combined with the gold cores of the Cryo 460 CPU, take gaming all the way to the next level. Lesser frame drops, but also an overall smoother gameplay. It's absolutely amazing, and we've tested this amongst all the latest games. A few of us got chicken dinners as well. The next part of this amazing chip is the Spectra ISP. Now this obviously is incredibly important because this has been engineered to support a 48 megapixel camera, right? And of course you remember our tagline. Not just the 48 MP camera, but it also has better depth sensing, and a hint for a later slide, it also supports 4K video capture. And the last part that I want to talk about here is it comes with an all-new DSP, the Hexagon 685, which has much better AI processing, and hence that also adds further to your camera experience. Overall, This makes the Snapdragon 675 SoC, which is, as you saw, really powerful. And I'll just move to the next one. And we've combined this with up to 6 GB of LPDDR4X. Now we know LPDDR4X is the fastest RAM available for mobile phones right now, and you get that on the Note 7 Pro. Not just that, but for the first time ever on a Redmi Note series, we are also introducing a 128 GB storage variant. Now, you combine this, you've got a super powerful Cryo 460 CPU, an all-new Adreno 612 GPU, and up to 6 GB of DDR4X RAM. You've got an amazing gaming machine right in your hands. But that's the hardware part. We've also made optimizations when it comes to software. In fact, we are running MIUI 10 based on Android Pie, and from a performance point alone, there are more than 20 different optimizations that have been done. But just to highlight a few, from a lock-free critical path and code-dependent prioritization, it's able to run everything a lot more smoothly and push this entire system to a whole new level. Now, it is a Note, and you've got so much power, so it has to have a noteworthy battery. And the Note 7 Pro comes with a 4000 mAh battery that easily lasts you 2 days on a single charge. And when you deep dive, it's almost 45 hours of 4G calling time if you were to call someone that long. Or what's really important, and what I really care about as well, about 8.5 hours of gaming. So this is absolutely incredible. Now this is a big battery and it's a powerful phone, and we are saying that it's great for gaming. What you do need is, when the battery goes down, you need to charge it up quickly, right? For that, again, a first for the Redmi Note series, you got Quick Charge 4. So, to sum it up, you've got the incredibly powerful Snapdragon 675 built on the Cryo 460 CPU. It has an Adreno 612 GPU, perfect for those heavy games. You've got MIUI 10 with Android Pie, and bringing you all those optimizations and overall a smoother experience. Up to 6 GB of DDR4X RAM and 128 GB of storage. And of course, the Spectra 250L ISP. It's an all-new ISP required for a massive camera. And with that, let's get into the most exciting part, the camera. Now, the camera on the Note 7 Pro is a combination of a 48 megapixel camera, and that's the primary camera, and along with that 48, you have a 5 megapixel depth sensor for those amazing portrait shots. Now this 48 MP camera has probably generated a lot more buzz than any of our features ever before. In fact, I think about 4 weeks back is when we first talked about the fact that 48 MP is coming. We have got thousands and thousands of questions, comments from a lot of our Mi fans as well, asking various aspects or various details. A lot of them wanted to know multiple aspects. So we've just taken some of those and put them here. So for example, Ashu wanted to know if this 48 megapixel was actually a real camera or is just software based. Or one of our very close fans who take a lot of inspiration from us, Madhav, wanted to compare it with a 13 megapixel sensor from the previous generation. So we will do that as well. And then Arijit wanted to know if the processor can actually support anything more than 24 megapixel. Well, we've answered the last question, so we know that the new ISP can handle 48 megapixel, but let's look at the other two. So, on the Redmi Note 7 Pro, the camera that you get is a 48 megapixel camera, and the sensor that you get is the sound. Okay, so we've decided to use the highest resolution sensor available on any smartphone, period. It is an absolutely amazing sensor. It changes mobile photography forever. And of course, it is there on your Redmi Note 7 Pro. But before we deep dive, I want to show a couple of images. Let's play a little quiz. Can you guys guess what this is? Anyone from the top? I heard Game of Thrones wall. Okay, yes. It's really hard to do this with me fans around. They know everything. Okay, yes. So this was zoomed in shot of an air purifier. Or, let's take a look at this one. What is this? Sweater. Pillow. This is the me neck pillow. Okay, let's get into a couple of sample images. Now this is a shot of the Taj, right? And I'm going to switch to Hindi for a bit here, because this is a proper 48 megapixel shot. So when we were taking the shot, हम दूर से देख रहे थे, तो दूर से देखा तो ताज महल दिख रहा था. दूर से देखा तो ताजमहल दिख रहा था, पास जाके देखा तो कोई हमारी ही खींच रहा था. Let's do one more. दूर से देखा तो एक फतेहपुर सीकरी का किला दिख रहा था. Right? हाँ, thank you. पास जाके देखा तो कोई रिश्वत ले रहा था. Okay, moving back, what you get with the 48 megapixel sensor or camera on the Note 7 Pro is incredible detailing. This, of course, is the Taj Palace Hotel in Mumbai, and what you can see is a daylight shot with all the details captured properly. Unfortunately, the screen itself isn't big enough to handle that resolution, but we are trying to get there. Now, in a shot like this, with the 48 megapixel camera, you can zoom in even further and without losing any detail. You can see all the details captured. In fact, you can even look at that pigeon and count the feathers that they've got on the edges. It's an incredible camera. And let's go to the next section, where let's talk a bit more about how this camera works. So, we did talk about the fact that it's a 48 megapixel primary sensor clubbed with a 5 megapixel depth sensor. Diving a little deeper and looking at just the IMX586. Now this is the highest resolution sensor ever put in a smartphone. It is a half-inch stacked CMOS sensor. It is massive. Not just that, it also provides 4 times the dynamic range. So your photographs actually come out a lot better, even if it was, say, in a similar situation. And all of this is happening because this all-new sensor uses improved photoelectric conversion efficiency. What it means is it's able to handle that light better in that size. Talking about the sensor size, where does a half-inch sensor stand? So we compared it with some of the products that are out there. It is the largest sensor, or one of the largest sensors ever put on a smartphone. In fact, it is almost 27% larger than even the iPhone XS Max. I think we should price it somewhere there as well. Of course, now we're talking about some flagships there, but we also looked at other mid-rangers. I don't think it's fair to compare. It's almost a 40% gap. But let's wait for the photographs there. and we'll get into that. Now, this is possible with almost 48 million individual pixels that are sitting in this half-inch sensor. It's a massive sensor with 48 million pixels. And in front of those, we have also got a 6-piece lens system and a wider than ever aperture of f1.79. It's the widest aperture we've ever put on a Redmi Note device. This gives you incredible detailed photographs like the ones you saw. In fact, with this kind of a sensor size and getting 48 megapixel, you can print photographs almost 9 feet by 7 feet in size. It's that kind of a detailing. In fact, I don't know if you have a print. You could probably show a print of what this would look like, maybe a bit. Okay. आगे जाके. So this is the image that you saw that was clicked by the Note 7 Pro. And this is not even 9 feet by 7 feet. We can go a little bigger. We could have gone a little bigger as well. So this is the capability of the incredible 48 megapixel camera on the Note 7 Pro. But that's on its own. How does it compare with other phones? Let's take a look. Now this is the Note 7 Pro versus iPhone XS and a OnePlus 6T, the other flagships. And what you can see is a superior dynamic range and a lot more detail coming in the Note 7 Pro. In fact, if you go a little closer, you'll start seeing even more differences. If you look at this particular image, right, the writing on the wall is a lot more clearer in more ways than one. Even the parts that are not well lit, the Note 7 Pro is able to handle this light a lot better than even the flagships that are out there. But it is a 48 megapixel, so we can go even closer. And if you look at that, this is a whole new level. When you've gone that close, if you look at the flag, the details on the Note 7 Pro are preserved, while both the XS and the 6T lose that detail out. Yeah? Let's take a look at one more. Now this is the OnePlus 6T versus the Note 7 Pro. And again, this is the photograph of Taj. I will not do Shero Shairi now, so you guys are spared. What I want you to do is look at this little board here. Right? We talked about the fact that you've got incredible detailing on the Note 7 Pro. But not just that, you can clearly read the smallest font that is there. Kripya pani mein pav na dalein. But what's also interesting is, I said this sensor gives you a greater dynamic range. So if you look at the window at the back, not only is the Note 7 Pro able to capture the grille properly, but what almost every other phone would have missed out is there's a smaller grille behind this grille which has also been captured. It's incredible amount of detailing that's coming in to the Note 7 Pro's camera. No, those are flagships. And again, the reason we were comparing it with these flagships is the fact that we used a sensor that is built for the latest flagships. And I know some of you guys would want to know how it compares with other devices in the mid-range as well. So we thought we'll do that. It's not really fair, but we'll still do that. If you can look at this one, right? The Note 7 Pro is far ahead in terms of dynamic range, in terms of the details, and we'll get to the details in a bit, and the overall color reproduction. But this is a 48, so we go closer. And here's where you start seeing the impact of that dynamic range coming in. The grille is absolutely clear here, while both of these other two devices start struggling. You want to see them struggle a bit more? Go on. Yes. Let's dive a bit more. Let's go even closer. And you can clearly see all the details on the Note 7 Pro, while this is just a smudged photograph. So the Note 7 Pro is an incredible camera. Now I want to talk a bit more about the Note 7 Pro's camera settings. Now what you get is a 48 megapixel shot. Now each image, because it has so much information, easily will be about 15 to 20 MB in size. Now this is big because when you start taking 48 megapixel cameras photographs, GB, you'd only be able to fit 50 to 60 photographs. And this means that for most of our users, can run out of space really quickly. To improve this, or basically make it easier for not you guys, and of course me fans will know all the settings, but for other layman person who comes in and buys the Note 7 Pro, we have put the 48 megapixel camera in the Pro mode. So by default, the photographs that you get are 12 megapixel, and these are normally about 4 to 5 MB, so you do not run out of space very quickly. But for all of me fans, you want a 48, you want a true 48, you go into the Pro settings, and there on top you enable 48 megapixel to see those incredible shots come to life. Yeah? Okay, let's move on to the next section. What do you do with a sensor this large? You excel at low light photography as well. And how this works is absolutely amazing. When the camera detects low light, it moves to combine 4 adjacent pixels into one super pixel. This super pixel is a 1.6 micron. And now you take this 1.6 micron and club it with this improved electric conversion efficiency. What you get is fantastic shots. Shots like this. Now this is a low light shot, and what most cameras would struggle to capture is, if you guys can read what's written on the typewriter, GW4682. It's absolutely clear with the Note 7 Pro. Now this is a phenomenal camera, and you see phenomenal results as well. For example, and this is another shot that we took, which was extremely low light conditions. And on the left side, you've got the iPhone XS, and on the right side, you've got the Note 7 Pro. The XS almost completely misses out the fact that there's a DJ booth in the middle. While on the Note 7 Pro, it's bright, it's clear, it's captured really well. Moving beyond flagships, to other mid-range devices. Again, like I said, that's not really fair. But if you take the same image with a Realme 2 Pro or a Samsung M20, it's almost invisible. These guys really take their low light seriously. Sorry, okay. So, to sum it up, you get a 48 megapixel unbeatable detailing with the all-new Sony IMX586 sensor. You've got a large half-inch sensor that takes in so much more information. You've got a wider than ever before f1.79 aperture, a 6-piece lens, and of course, when it's low light conditions, a 1.6 micron super pixel. And you've seen those results. They're absolutely stunning, even when the lighting conditions aren't great. But being a Redmi Note, we've decided to push it to the next level. For the first time on the Redmi Note series, we are also introducing a steady handheld night photography mode. Now this is based on Xiaomi's powerful AI algorithm, and it does a remarkable job. So let me show you an example. Take a look at this night shot. It captures in so much detail. You can see the reflection of the lights captured perfectly. You can even see how the cement is. Right? A great shot? Agree? Well, we haven't even switched on the night mode. When you switch on the night mode, the party completely changes. See that again? Normal, much better than any of the other devices that you get in this price class. But with the night mode, it's a whole new level. Let's take a look at another shot. Without night mode, it's still a bright, clear shot. But when you take the same image with night mode, you can even see the writings up there. So how does the night mode compare? Versus the 10S, the 10S does not have a night mode, so it's not really fair. But even versus the 60, it's able to get all these details and handle the light sources without really blowing out, without having any exposure challenges. In fact, let's take a look at another example. The Note 7 Pro night mode is capturing in a lot more detail than even the OnePlus 60. So, the Note 7 Pro, unbeatable detailing day as well as night. And that's not all. We're still pushing ahead. On the camera, you also have AI scene detection as well as AI Portrait 2.0. Now we've talked about this before, so I'll just quickly recap. With AI scene detection, the Redmi Note 7 Pro's camera is able to detect accurately 33 different scenes and change the overall saturation, improve the contrast, all the tweaks that it needs to do to make it that perfect image for sharing. In fact, we've got India-specific changes made to this as well. An example would be this. Now, when you're taking a picture like this with the Note 7 Pro, it automatically detects that this is an architecture, this is a building, and enhances it. It improves the overall edges, it enhances the contrast, it bumps up the colors, it just makes it a lot more shareable on social media. Again, without subtle differences and making it a much better looking image. Along with this, you've got AI Portrait 2.0. Now, this is something that we all loved. With AI Portrait 2.0, you have adjustable bokeh, you've got studio lighting, and light trails. With adjustable bokeh, we all love portraiture, but you get the control in your hands. You choose how much of that depth information you want to have on your image. And then you've got studio lighting, giving you these incredibly dramatic shots every single time. And you've got now 8 unique effects, including one that's being built only for India. It's a holy effect. And you should get that pretty soon via an update. For the first time, we are also getting in a studio lighting live preview and the back camera. So you don't have to wait for the shot to be done and then you start editing. You will be able to see what the studio shot looks like live on the camera. And from AI Portrait 2.0, we also have light trails. So you've got multiple options, and these are incredible photographs to share, especially on Instagram. In fact, if anyone, or I'm sure all of you follow Manu, you would have seen what he did during Valentine's Day. Okay, so that's still photography. We are bringing in one more change to the video part and the camera. With the Note 7 Pro, you get 4K recording at 30 frames per second. It's a powerful device with an incredible camera. You can push it to the limits. And like the previous notes, we still have EIS when you're taking those videos and you want to avoid that handshake that comes in. So that's the rear camera. On the front, we have a 13 megapixel camera. Now this enables AI portrait selfie. You've got scene detection up to 12 different scenes. When you're taking a selfie, it detects what's behind you and automatically enhances your image as well as the background, depending on what the background is. You've got a studio lighting selfie for the first time, and this should be fun. And of course, it supports AI face unlock as well. So let's take a look at one shot which I really loved. Now this one is from the front camera, and it's actually, as you can see, it's a portrait shot. The backgrounds are blurred beautifully. The subject is in complete focus, but the edge detection is on point. If you look at her hair, right behind the hair, everything is blurred out. It's a stunning looking shot. Right? But what's really interesting, and what most phones will struggle to do, is when you've got two subjects in the same frame. Most phones will struggle to take that portrait shot accurately. Either you'll see blurs happening on one or the other, or, and I'm pretty sure almost 95% of the phones will not be able to do this, if you look at that little gap between these two, that is incredibly hard to find. And because of our enhanced AI semantic segmentation, we are able to detect where the subject is, where the background is, and apply that beautiful blur every single time. With the 13 megapixel front camera, you also have AI face unlock for those who prefer just to look at the phone to unlock. We will be getting studio lighting selfie, and this will come via an OTA. So to sum it up, the Note 7 Pro, 48 megapixel camera beast, unbeatable detailing day, and as you saw, night as well. It's got a Sony IMX586 sensor, the largest, highest resolution sensor ever put on a smartphone. And we've taken it to the next level with a wider f1.79 aperture. It also supports 4K recording and an all-new night mode. Of course, from a portraiture perspective, you've got a 5 megapixel depth sensor, and you can get some amazing portrait shots with the AI scene detection and portrait 2.0. In the front, you've got a 13 megapixel AI front camera, which does AI face beautify, scene detection, face unlock, as well as a studio lighting selfie that's coming pretty soon. Now, Note 7 Pro, a lot has changed. From the Note 6 Pro, we have to, of course, change the camera. It moves to a 48 megapixel camera with the 5 megapixel depth sensor. The super pixel is a 1.6 micron super pixel now, giving you amazing low light photography. Even the aperture is bigger, so it lets in a lot more light, getting you a lot more details. We've used an all-new Snapdragon 675, pushing the overall smartphone performance to the next level. We saw it is 17% faster than even the Snapdragon 710. We've got an all-new immersive design. We've got a 19.5 to a 9 dot notch display. We've got Corning Gorilla Glass 5, both in the front and the back. And this glass is curved beautifully that fits into the frame. We've got Quick Charge 4 supported. We've got an all-new Type-C, first for a Redmi Note. We've got 4K UHD recording. We've got EIS, and of course, a noteworthy 4000 mAh battery and dual SIM, dual VoLTE. It's not dual SIM, dual standby. It supports DSDV. So, a 48 megapixel camera beast in all its glory. Again, to recap, 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 sensor. Absolutely incredible. You saw the results. It is a flagship sensor that we are putting in the Note 7 Pro. It's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 675, giving you flagship level gaming experience. It's got dual Corning Gorilla Glass 5 and an all-new gradient design, which looks absolutely stunning. It's got a 13 megapixel AI front camera, an all-new immersive dot notch display, which is 6.3 inch Full HD Plus, and a noteworthy 4000 mAh battery with Quick Charge 4 supported. So let's take an overall look at the product through a product video. sure you guys are going to love this phone. Absolutely sure. Okay, so that's the Note 7 Pro. Moving on, the second surprise. Now this one is something that you were anyways expecting. Redmi Note 7. Now with the Redmi Note 7, we have performance redesign. And we'll get into each of these, but again, we are redefining what you get in its particular class. Let's get into performance.
Processor 660.
The Note 7 is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 660 AIE. No 625 because we lost them. It is a 2.2 gigahertz octa-core processor, and it absolutely changes everything else in its price class. It's based on a Cryo 260 architecture, and it's got 4 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. So essentially your gaming as well as your day-to-day tasks are easily handled. Now, why am I saying that this is a game changer or the best in its class? We have, over the past couple of weeks, or recent past, we have seen a couple of devices that launched with the so-called Snapdragon 660 processor. In fact, we found about 4 of them. And these range from about 15,000 all the way to about 25,000. And all of them claim that they're running a Qualcomm Snapdragon 660. So we decided to test how the Note 7 performs versus all of them.